Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let us start our class with Kitab Al-Fatiha. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط. Alright, inshallah today I'm going to continue what I left before. In previous week we discussed about classroom management. The video that I asked you to watch with Mr. Hexter video actually discussed a lot on week 7 and week 8, helping teachers with classroom management in terms of managing the discipline. Alright, and then understandings on how to help teachers to plan, to manage and supervise instructions. Basically, it goes well with having a good lesson plan. And while you are writing your lesson plan, you have to make sure that the minutes and the activities are full, so that your students do not have time, or they call it a time where they are free from doing any activities, to the extent that they could poke their friends or they could disturb their friends. Alright, so inshallah today I'm going to focus on evaluations of instructions. Alright, and then this evaluation of instructions, how actually help teachers to evaluate instructions, and that can be done, you as a principal can be done through or depending on a form or evaluation style that you have. Alright, so I'll be brief with you. I already share with you in this WhatsApp group about this teaching evaluation form. Alright, this is basically being used by the student teaching observation. Alright, so it means in the US, in Wisconsin, for example, what happens is student actually will observe teachers on how teachers actually perform in teaching. Okay, and of course they will be provided with a form. Alright, and usually the form has placement. Alright, the first and second placement, the first observation, second observation. Okay, this is for the first time. For the second one, first observation and second observation. What does it mean by this? First placement usually is done by different people. For second placement is done by different people. So based on this form, so it's supposed to actually judge, to reflect, to evaluate a particular teacher. Okay, so that you could actually see or learn what are the things that we need to improve in terms of teaching, in terms of instructions. That's why it mentioned here evaluation of instruction. Okay, so I googled this form, I found this form, and I think that's very interesting. Because of the elements or the criteria that are provided inside this teaching evaluation form. Okay, so at IIUM we actually have this kind of form as well, but the forms are totally different. It has the elements of qualitative as well as quantitative. Alright, when it is a quantitative, I mean if you have, for example, if you have the marks that you have to give to the students, so at the end of the lessons you will have to calculate, to add everything, okay, and to give them a proper or a mark, a number. Alright, so from 100%, maybe for example some of them might get 80 or 70s, depends on how you evaluate the students. Alright, for the qualitative elements, for example, where you can actually give a summary of activities or recommendations here. Okay, so it has qualitative and quantitative elements inside this form. Alright, so you're going to use this form for the YouTube videos that I asked you to observe. If I'm not mistaken, there are I think two YouTube videos that I provided, if I'm not mistaken. Let me check again. This case study. Alright, this is the one. Alright. You're going to watch two teaching videos and you're going to evaluate the teachings based on the supervision components taught by me. The teaching videos are, alright. Okay. So it's not that difficult. Okay, so let's come back to this form, student teaching observation or evaluation form. Date of visit, alright, date of visit, you stated the date that you watched the YouTube video. This will be the durations of the YouTube video. The student teacher will be the name of this person that you watch on the YouTube. The school, keep it blank. The city, keep it blank. Observer or evaluator will be you. The grades, you find it from the YouTube video. What are the grades or what are the lessons? What are the lessons? Teaching method use. Okay, this is based on your explanation, based on your judgment as well. Alright. Please read this background information. Students completing the teacher education program at the University of Wisconsin-Green Bay are expected to demonstrate competence. Competence means the capability to teach very well, but according to their own standards, which is 10 Wisconsin teacher standards. Let us check what is it. All right. Okay, so this is basically the 10 Wisconsin teacher standards. Okay, the 10 teacher standards for teacher development and licensure are, okay, for your information, for you to become a teacher there in the US, you need to have a license. Alright, it's like a driving license. Okay, let's check on that. Alright, like to see what is it actually. So this is the Wisconsin's Educator standards teachers. They have 10 standards. To receive a license to teach in Wisconsin, an applicant shall complete an approved program and demonstrate proficient performance under all of the following standards. The first one, teacher know the subjects they are teaching. Teachers know how the children grow. Teacher understand that children learn differently. Teachers know how to teach. Alright. Teachers know how to manage a classroom. We already discussed this. Teachers communicate well. Alright. Okay. Teachers are able to plan for different kinds of lessons. Teachers know how to test students for progress. Teachers are able to evaluate themselves. This can be done through lots of reflections, like what you are doing right now. You write lots of reflections. Alright, and lastly, teachers are connected with other teachers and the community. Means you are a social animal. Means you work with others. You don't work alone. Alright, so based on the form, it stated that what is it? Actually, students, those who want to become teachers, they actually need to know the 10 standards in and out, inside and outside of themselves. See here, this is the assessment scale from 4, 3, 2, 1. 4 is the best. Alright. Extensive evidence of meeting or exceeding the criteria means very good, very well. So basically, let's say that if you look at number 1, teachers know the subjects they are teaching. It seems that this teacher that you are observing on the YouTube knows what they are doing. Maybe perhaps you should circle 4. If you think that they are somehow unacceptable, little or no evidence of meeting the criteria, you as well circle this one. So it's up to you to make a decision based on what you watch and based on what you think. I want you to put yourself in and imagine yourself as a supervisor or as a principal. You are evaluating your teachers, but basically you are evaluating the YouTube teachers that you watch. All right. All right. So let's look at. I think it has 10 standards that is being mentioned there just now. The first one, the teachers know the subjects they are teaching. The teachers understand the central concepts, tools of inquiry, structures of the discipline he or she teaches, and can create learning experience can create, okay, learning experience that's very constructive is there, that make these aspects of subject matter meaningful to students. Okay, and teacher actually shows this kind of standard because he effectively views multiple representations and explanations of disciplinary concepts that capture key ideas and link them to student prior understanding. So basically, this explanation here actually explain one, two, three, four, five explanations here actually explains either the teacher know the subjects they are teaching or not. Okay, let's look at for example, the third one. Under the first one, the first standard. Uh, the fact that you know the subject you are teaching because you actually knows how to use teaching resources, how to use curriculum materials, and how to use the content area standards. All right. Teachers knows how the subject they are teaching because the teachers are able to create interdisciplinary learning experiences that encourage students to integrate knowledge, skills, and methods of inquiry from several subjects areas. Let's say that you are teaching English, and then one day you plan to explain something from the article that you share with your students, and the article that you share with your students basically biology. Perhaps then you could actually explain more, okay, and then putting them into doing more work related to biology, and then you integrate it with English. So basically by doing this, if you could do that, if you are observing the teachers and the teachers do that, just circle number 4. Let's see, for example, I give you for example, all right? Okay. Let's look at the criteria number 2. Teachers know how children grow. So, and then the explanation there, for example, there are so many explanations there. Encourage self-assurance in all students, because when the students are confident, they are assured of themselves, then they are able to grow. They are able to learn. Okay, look at the other explanation. Lessons that facilitate and enhance independent learning and thinking. The fact that if you provide this kind of lesson that actually help them to be independent of themselves on learning and thinking, that actually you trust and know that children grows by themselves. Okay, if you notice this is obviously shown in the YouTube videos, you can just circle it and then hand them to me. All right. So the rest, I don't think you need my explanations on the 10 standards, but I found it very interesting that they have these standards then they use these standards to measure teaching and learning happening in the classrooms, right? Okay, this is very important. Number 9. Look at number 9. Teachers are able to evaluate themselves. The teacher is a reflective practitioner. I told you, right? By doing reflections, actually, you are reflecting back to yourself, who continually evaluates the effect of his or her choices and actions on students, parents, professionals in the learning community, and others who actively seeks out opportunities to grow professionally by attending courses, by listening to beneficial YouTube lectures, this kind of stuff, right? Okay, and this is another evaluation form for teaching, but we're not going to use this. I already decided we are going to use the Wisconsin's evaluation form to evaluate the YouTube videos teachers. All right, so let's look at into the dimensions that they provided for this evaluation form for billing public schools. All right, they have classroom instructions. All right, this is the first one. They have the interpersonal or professional responsibilities, and then they have the summary. Okay, so it's quite general there, but I assume this is the first page where actually you give you take either you are satisfactory or unsatisfactory, more like into a mark, right? Okay, but I'm interested to look into the classroom instructions, the dimensions there. In terms of planning and preparations, demonstrate knowledge of content and related pedagogy, demonstrate knowledge of development characteristic of each group, demonstrates knowledge of how students learn, demonstrates awareness of student skills and knowledge. So there are so many things. So into your lesson that you need to put into your lesson plan, into your teaching, that you are actually have this kind of knowledge. Alright? But I like it, this form. I think this form is a little bit complicated, even though it has some descriptions there, because to me, the way that I see it, you can interpret it into so many things. Depends on who actually observe you. But I like this form very well because it has a strength that they want you to state, and at the same time the improvement that could be made. Okay, they have the element of teacher-student relationship as well. They have in terms of classroom management. I told you this is very important. That's why I really want you, or I hope that you watch the classroom management videos that I asked you to watch. Management and student behavior. Again, this is related to classroom management behavior. Instructional time. To protect the instructional time, you can actually refer to in the reflections of the article by PIMRS, Principal Instructional Management Survey. Alright. And then in terms of instructional presentations, in terms of monitoring students' performance, if they're doing homeworks or not, in terms of giving feedback, right? In terms of how facility provided at your local school actually helps you. So we call it, if it helps, that is facilitating. And then they are evaluating as well interpersonal or professional responsibilities. Alright, so I think it's going to be complicated there. Contributions. Oh my god, there are so many things. Professionalisms. For example, if you're not wearing a necktie, or you don't tie in your shirt, then it's not professional. If you do not attend, you do not follow the time, you arrive late at school, it's not professional. Okay, so there are so many things. Alright. Okay. So that's in terms of improving instructions at schools. Alright. Now, I think I will let you do your work, observing and then evaluating based on the form that I asked you to, that I put in the WhatsApp group, right? Please use that form and write it properly and send it to me. Okay, by the end of this semester. All right. With that, let's finish our class with tasbih kifaran surah al-asr. Assalamu alaikum.